started, a really hearty welcome to Dr. James Liddell. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us this evening. I am really excited about this evening's chat. I had the pleasure of actually meeting Dr. Liddell last week and had sort of a preview to his dynamic work. And it is so fascinating and so powerful. So James was a pharmacist for 25 years. So he's a trained allopathic doctor, and then went into more alternative medicine and combined that. But tonight's talk is going to be about the brain-heart-brain cohesion. And about biogeometrics. So I'm going to leave a lot of that explanation to James and just again say a hearty welcome. Thank you for joining us in the kitchen.
Thank you, Elaine, for inviting me to this platform tonight, and welcome to all the participants. And I hope that you will enjoy the talk and that you will embark on a more healthier lifestyle if you're not living very healthy. I think I want to start by just telling you a little bit about my health journey. So I started in the allopathic field of medicine because I always wanted to know everything about medicine. I had some serious digestive issues from about 1 year old, and that stayed with me most of my life. And I didn't trust doctors, and I thought, you know what, I really need to know everything about medicine so that I can help myself. So I had all the antispasmodics that you can think of, and I varied different ones to help me with my IBS. And then fast forward, someone phoned me one day and said, you know what, I walk into a bookshop and I bought you a book, Eat for Your Blood Type. And this person was very allopathic orientated, and she sent me the book to Cape Town, and I read the book, and as a scientist, I thought, you know what I read in the book doesn't really make sense to me as a scientist, but I've got nothing to lose. All the medicine that I've been taking for many years did not solve my health problems. So I read the book, implemented all the lifestyle changes and eating habits, and my life changed like that. And I thought, I've missed the boat. It's not about medicine, but for me, it is about what I eat. So I decided, well, I need to know more about food. So I spoke to a friend of mine, Dr. Nathan Finkelstein, who's very well connected. And he says, you know what, I know the dean of the faculty in Stellenbosch University, Professor Labadarius. He's Greek. I'll have a chat with him and see whether I can get you into the faculty. So it took me 6 months to get into the faculty, and Prof. Labadarius said, now listen, tell me, when last have you had physiology and biochemistry? I said 20 years ago. He says, I think you need to do those subjects over. So I had to do undergrad subjects with young girls, 18, 20 years old. And I was now like 40 years old at that point in time. But I just want to do it, you know. So I did it. And eventually I got a PhD in nutrition. And in the interim, I also studied courses in homeopathy and naturopathy. And I studied with my dear friend Suzanne philosophy since early 2000. So I've studied a lot of stuff, from allopathic medicine to natural medicine to, in 21 and 22, I studied biogeometry. So it's from allopathic medicine to natural medicine to no medicine. And I think that's the future of the planet, where we're going to move to an era of no medicine. But I divided the evening into 3 slots. So first of all, I'm going to talk about heart-brain coherence, which I feel very passionate about. Then I'm going to do a little bit of a practical session that I can show you how it works. So if you visit my clinic in Constantia, you can have the same kind of experience. And then last but not least, I'm going to talk about biogeometry. So when I did biogeometry in 2021, I was the only student in Africa. And when I did the advanced course last year, again, I was the only student in Africa. And then today I thought, freaking, there must be some biogeometric practitioners in South Africa. So I just Googled, a biogeometric practitioner in South Africa. None. And then I saw, but in 2014, there was a course in Cape Town. But it seems to me those students that attended that course never decided to study further or to practice biogeometry, because it is such a fascinating discipline. And it is from Africa, because Egypt is in Africa. And it is something that comes from the pyramids. And it is just a wonderful, wonderful energy balancing modality that I will talk about a little bit later. So let me start by sharing my screen. And we're going to talk about heart-brain coherence. So just give me a gap so that I can get all my stuff on the screen.
Here we go.
Can you see my screen?
Perfectly. So everyone,
Okay.
Cool, brilliant.
Okay, so let's talk about heart-brain coherence. So the first thing people always ask me, what is heart-brain coherence? And it's the cooperative alignment between the heart and the brain so that they can function in synchronicity. And what is the purpose of heart-brain coherence? And it is to increase your resilience so that you have the capacity to prepare for stress or adapt in the face of stress or challenges or adversity. So resilience is the energy you have available, not only physically, but also mentally and emotionally. So when you look at the figure on your screen, you'll see there are two groups of participants. The top line is for people that do heart-brain coherence, and the bottom line is for people that do not do heart-brain coherence. So you can see, if there's a challenge, the top group that do the heart-brain coherence, they excel as the challenge increases and they do well. The second group that do not do heart-brain coherence, initially they do well, but at some point when the challenge gets quite severe, they drop down, and of course the performance went down. And they are the people that normally will suffer from burnout or chronic fatigue. So what benefits will heart-brain coherence have? You have more energy when you need it for physical, mental, and emotional challenges. Better self-regulation and better self-control in managing your challenges. Learning and applying energy-preserving skills that can increase your energy reserves and thus increasing resilience capacity. So by getting enough sleep and stopping energy leaks, you can maintain your resilience. So just a few facts about the heart. You have two memory centers, your heart and your brain. The heart sends more information to the brain than the other way around. The heart also secretes hormones. The heart produces an electromagnetic field that is 40 to 60 times stronger than the brain. That field is measurable and it's 3 meters around the body. The frequency that you radiate is influenced by how you feel. If you are happy and joyful and you have gratitude in your heart, that is a very high frequency, and that's what you will emit. So heart emotions create a positive field that attracts positivity, but also the other way around. If you create a negative field, that will, of course, attract negative energies. So why should heart-brain coherence be part of your daily routine? Our daily lives are dictated by emotions, and stressful situations will reduce your coherence. The speed of life just increases all the time and just becomes faster and faster and faster. And we have to make instant decisions and intuitive decisions. So many people now feel intuitively that they want to change themselves and the world. Most people use techniques that are really not long-term solutions. They drink alcohol and they listen to music just to get rid of the day's havoc, but it's short-term solutions. Negative emotions release hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, and positive heart emotions will release DHEA and oxytocin that I call the love hormone. Heart-brain coherence can change your life and life on earth for all around you. When we look at resilience, there are 4 different resilience: physical resilience, mental resilience, emotional resilience, and spiritual resilience. So when they are in balance, then you have maximum coherence. So when we talk about physical resilience, we refer to physical flexibility, endurance, and strength. And when we refer to mental resilience, we refer to mental flexibility, attention span, ability to focus, and incorporation of multiple points of view. Emotional resilience will refer to emotional flexibility, a positive outlook, self-regulation. And spiritual resilience will refer to spiritual flexibility, commitment to values, tolerance of others' values and beliefs, and you can also put meditation and religious activity into that quadrant. Flexibility and balance is key. Flexibility is key, and balance in all 4 domains maximize the resilience. So if you have that balance, that spontaneous inner combustion takes place within you as a human being, and you live a life of abundance on all levels. Most of us waste a lot of energy in the emotional domain. You lose your cool, and it drains a lot of your energy. Feelings like frustration, anger, resentment, anxiety burn a lot of your energy. Stress hormones stay for a long time in your blood. Like cortisol stays in your blood for 13 hours, and the good hormones like DHEA stay in your blood for like only 6 hours. So you have to put double in the work for stress hormones versus the good hormones. So it's not beneficial for you to lose your cool because you burn double. So what are the benefits of heart-brain coherence? They conducted a study over 11,500 people, and they saw that focus improved with 24%. Sleep improved with 30%. Calmness improved with 38%. Anxiety reduces with 46%. Fatigue reduced with 48%, and depression with 56%. Now, if you just think of diseases, in 2030, the biggest disease and the biggest money spinner is going to be depression. It will cost governments of the world and medical aids of the world an enormous amount of money. But you can intervene with a self-regulated breathing exercise and reduce depression with 56%. Then you can use biogeometric signatures to treat depression, and that will not cost you money. Now, these are just the studies that have been conducted scientifically. But when you raise your frequency with heart-brain coherence, you operate on an intuitive level, you attract the things to you that you really want, because frequency matches frequency, and high frequencies match high frequencies. Other benefits: emotional rebalancing, immune system support, you reduce fatigue, you reduce your blood pressure, you regain tonus and energy, you improve your concentration and memorization capacity, you live longer, and it can even help people in losing weight because now they move from emotional eating to intuitive eating. So there's an on-the-go exercise that I like people to use and recommend in the workplace. And I call it the on-the-go technique. Now remember, where the attention goes, the energy flows. So step 1, put your attention on your heart. Step 2, start to have a regulated breathing exercise. So breathe in for 5, exhale for 5. Or breathe in for 5 and exhale for 10. But regulate your breath. What you can do, if you don't feel stressed, you can add a feeling to it of gratitude or unconditional love. Now, every time when you breathe, try to breathe deeper and slower. And when you inhale, pull your belly towards your spine. That will reduce your heart rate. When you're now afraid with this little exercise, try to do it once to twice a day for 15 minutes. Afterwards, I'm going to share a little app on WhatsApp that you can use to assist you in this regulated breathing exercise. Just a few notes before we go to the practical session. If you feel dizzy, you breathe too deep. If you feel sleepy, you need to rest. The purpose of the exercise is to conserve your energy, recharge yourself, and balance your autonomic nervous system. So you want to balance that parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system. So it's the stress hormones versus the calming hormones. In HeartMath, we self-regulate, we don't meditate. HeartMath self-regulation should be a daily practice to increase resilience. It's like jogging. If you jog a little bit further every day, eventually you will be partake in the 2 oceans. But you can't someone just get up one morning and decide, I'm going to do the 2 oceans. You have to practice and practice and practice and run a little bit further, and eventually you will have the capacity that will enable you to run the Comrades. If you self-regulate for longer periods with high coherence, you'll have more resilience. As time goes by, you build capacity and your resilience increases. Mini habits create success. Just a few notes. Heart rate variance, the average of the highs and the average of the lows. A high heart rate variance will reflect an optimal state of health. When you inhale, that's a sympathetic action, and when you exhale, that's a parasympathetic action. When you look at the graphs, the results in the red area, low coherence, sympathetic activity. The results in the blue area is medium coherence, sympathetic and parasympathetic activity. And of course, your aim is to stay in the green, which is high coherence and parasympathetic activity. If you have the tools that I have, you don't have to buy the tools, but of course, the tools will help you to increase your challenges, but you don't need to spend a lot of money. You can just do the practical exercise and have the same benefits. The amplitude equals the depth of your breath. Inhale into the belly with intention, because that will reduce your heart rate. Consistency is key. You just want consistency. Your goal every day is to self-regulate better. You can do these exercises with your eyes open. So you can be in the workplace, everyone is losing their cool, and you just start to regulate your breathing. You balance your autonomic nervous system, your heart rate goes down, you are calm, you can make better decisions, you can make intuitive decisions where the other people lose their cool, they feel tired, they can't make proper decisions, and you will be one step ahead. Any questions at this point in time?
Don't be shy, but I think everybody, I know I get used to everybody sort of really just being fascinated and wanting to listen. But if anyone has any questions, raise your hand. I actually won't see all of you because we've got the sharing screen. So unmute yourself if you want to ask a question, interrupt me, or put something in a chat. As it stands at the moment, I think everybody's just raring to continue listening to you.
Cool. So in summary, in HeartMath, we self-regulate, we don't meditate. You will not necessarily have high coherence in meditation. heart math self-regulation should be a daily practice to increase the resilience. If you self-regulate for longer time periods with high coherence, you will have more resilience. As time goes by, you build capacity and your resilience increases. Mini habits create success. Negative emotions are costly and inefficient and deplete your resilience capacity. Start today with a simple regulating breathing exercise and enhance your heart-brain coherence and live a better life. Listen to your heart. I'm going to stop now and I'm going to get my other screen on so that I can show you how it practically works. So just give me a minute.
Sure. So I'm going to chat in the meantime. So what's fascinating about James, and hello to the newcomers who joined us. Nice to see additional people. Hello, Jess. Can't see if there's a lady from Cape Town. Lovely profile pic. So James is a scientist. So I love his fascination with medicine, both having gone from allopathic to alternate and homeopathic and energy medicine. But he loves the science of research. And so as alternate as this might sound and seem for a lot of you, I love that there's real life evidence in front of us. So James, take it away.
Right, excellent. So I put the probe on my ear that will measure my heart rate. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to think randomly of everything. I'm not going to regulate my breathing, and we're going to check my heart coherence. And the next exercise, I will regulate my heart breathing, my heart and my breathing, and we'll look at the results. And you'll see from low coherence to high coherence just by regulating the breathing. So let's just start. And I just think of everything and I breathe as per normal. And what you can do is I normally ask my patients, recall an incident where you really lost your cool and relive that incident. And I promise you the coherence is so freaking low, you can't believe it. And then the next exercise, we regulate the breathing. And of course, there's a massive improvement in the coherence. So let me just start. And I'm going to do this for 1 minute. And then stop. And then do a regulated breathing exercise. And we will then compare the results. So I normally just talk through this here, that there's no coherence and there's no regulated breathing exercise, so that we can really get a graph that is not so balanced and completely democrat. And then secondly, afterwards, I try to be a good boy and impress all of you so that you can see that it really works if you regulate your breathing. But if you lose your cool and you recall it, oh my hat, you can then see people were really, really not so happy.
And it's that level of focus that you talk about, you know, and how the mind has, in yoga, they call it chitta vritti, the monkey mind, where the mind is all over the place. And it really doesn't serve our health, as evidence shows, and as you've been speaking about. But it's that being where the mind goes all over. And the difference of being able to balance it and focus.
Okay, so now I'm going to do a regulated breathing exercise. So remember what I said a while ago. Focus all your attention on your heart. And you can do it with me. Just where you sit. You don't have to have fancy equipment. So sit with me. Close your eyes and put all your attention on your heart. And imagine now how you breathe in through the heart and how you exhale through the heart. So you can breathe in for 5 counts and you can exhale for 5 counts, or you can inhale for 5 counts and exhale for 5 counts. The important thing is keep your attention on your heart. Don't keep your attention there for a while and then you think of something else. Keep your attention non-stop on your heart. As soon as I put these probes on you and your mind starts to wander, you lose the connection between the heart and the brain, and immediately the coherence curve goes down. So all your attention on the heart. And imagine how you breathe in through the heart and how you exhale through the heart. So let's do this together. And we start right now. Okay, let's stop. Now let's look at the results. So first time around, I thought of everything. I did not regulate my breathing, and my results were, my coherence was 2.4. The second time around, I started to regulate my breathing, all my intention on my heart. I breathe in for 5 counts and I exhale for 10 counts. And immediately the coherence improved to 2.9. So, I mean, this is just a short little exercise over 1 minute. And you can see that immediately there was a huge improvement in my coherence. So I do this at least every day for 15 minutes. And I want to tell you something interesting about this too. So I'm just going to stop sharing and just talk in general. So last year, you must have heard the saying that when people say that person died of a broken heart. Now, when my father passed away, so my coherence scores were exceptionally high before my father passed away. I was in the highest challenge and I scored above 6. Then my father passed away, and it's in September, it will be a year. So we're not there yet, but my heart coherence is still not what it was before he passed away. So the heart stores a lot of emotions. And if you have a broken heart or you have heart sore, it takes a long time to work through those emotions. And this is just a scientific proof that you can measure it. It's not hocus pocus. It can be this or it can be that. You measure it and you see the results. But I'm sure as time goes by, my heart coherence will increase again because I practice every day. It is very important for me because I realize the benefits of having high heart coherence and high resilience. Okay, so I'm going to share a new screen with you. So just give me a gap.
So like you say, everything is just practice, James. The more you do this, as the heart is a physical muscle, it's also the practice of using this muscle and connecting with it.
Absolutely.
And I mean, I know you say 15 minutes, but I'm just going to put out there because I know with people when I when I do my yoga private classes and therapeutic, even if you don't have 15 minutes, I think the benefits of even trying this for 5 minutes until you can build up and add on to consider.
Absolutely. Right. The application of biogeometry for healing on all levels.
Well, before you get started, oh, here it is. Go ahead, sorry.
Cool. So the first question, of course, is what is biogeometry? So I'm going to talk a little bit about just basic information on what is biogeometry. And then I'm going to take you into a little session where I have 10 different aspects that I measure in a health check with biogeometry, so that you can have an idea of what I do on a practical level. So first of all, what is biogeometry? It is an energy balancing discipline that originated as an Egyptian temple wisdom. It assists us to understand life's phenomena in terms of subtle energy interactions, and more importantly, use this awareness and certain skills to create balance and harmony in all aspects of our life. This is achieved by the special use of shape, color, angle, number, layout, and more. And the results are potent. The purpose of biogeometry is to generate beneficial frequencies and qualities, the same as those found in sacred power spots, and use them to restore balance and harmonize at all levels, from physical to spiritual. Biogeometry has many applications ranging from personal growth, health and spirituality, architecture and design, agriculture, mystical study, and many other fields of life and work. The benefits that biogeometry gives include health and well-being, helping to neutralize the effects of electromagnetic radiation and other negative factors, harmonizing living and working spaces. In our highly stressful lives today, the awareness and skills of biogeometry offer proven effective solutions that can have a significant impact on your life and well-being on all levels. How does it work? We are living energy systems existing in a sea of vibrations that is our world. Our vital energies are constant interaction with each other and with our environment, exchanging energy effects on all levels. These energy effects affect our health, quality of life, state of mind, and level of consciousness. Biogeometry applies the subtle energy effects of geometric form, color, and angle to introduce natural balance on all levels of being. The result creates harmony in living things and spaces. The energetics of disease. Everything begins with absolute consciousness, which enters our body and manifests through many different attributes and functions. We are an open energy system. We take energy qualities and information on all 7 planes of nature: physical, vital, astral, emotional, mental, higher mental, and spiritual. So, where does disease come from? In the olden days, they said it comes from the devil. And then eventually they say, no, it comes from another source. And then they say, no, it comes from bacteria. But it can be a weakness in ourselves at any plane level and become a disease entity. You can resonate with the disease entity at any plane level. Collective aspects can be within a family or a group or even a nation. And higher wisdom, which brings us challenges in life. So like myself, I had the challenge of my digestive disorders, and I started studying, and I thought medicine was the solution. And then I moved to food. And today I realized that, between food and energy balancing medicine, I can really enhance the lives of many people that I work with on a daily basis. Quality is essential to grow in consciousness and health, gratitude, be grateful for everything life brings us to manifest our true potential, be a blessing to all, and also bless all. Forgiveness, unconditional love, giving and service to others, and oneness. So my 10-point biogeometric health check, my focus is to restore imbalances and to revitalize the patient. So the first test that I normally do is the organ test, and I'm just going to show you a few pictures of stuff that I use. So this is my organ chart. You can see it's just little pictures of the various organs, and I put these pictures on my human archetypal ruler, and this comes from the pyramids and was used by the Egyptians way back. With that, I will use my B16 pendulum. It looks like this. And this checks the BG3 energy. We also call it the God energy or the golden energy. And when I find an imbalance, I will use my BG16 disc, and I will adjust it to a specific angle and let a frequency flow in from that. And I'll do that for 10 minutes. And after the 10 minutes, I will go back to that specific organ and I will check whether the energy has been restored in that organ. The second test, I look at the chakras. I look at the 7 chakras in the body, and I will also look at the 3 chakras above the body. Again, I will use the human archetypal ruler. I will work on the 10 levels. When I find an imbalance, I will use my BG16 disc, and I will emit. This is an emitter. I will do that for 10 minutes, and after 10 minutes, I will recheck and look at the results. As a scientist, I like to check, intervene, and look at the result and recheck. It's not hocus pocus, maybe you're going to feel better. No. If the result is not there, you emit for another 10 minutes, you work on another angle until you get a proven result that you can measure. Test number 3, balancing an area of your brain. I will use the Ika pendulum, which is a different pendulum, and it's linked to the 7 planes. Very different. Also got this from Egypt. I will use the brain stands. These are the brain stands, the right and the left hemisphere. I will use a witness. So a witness is just a piece of white paper that you wipe over your forehead and your nose. And this is an imprint of you. So once I've finished using it, I will store it in a grid paper, close it up, and store it in the grid paper. And if I don't use it anymore, I must burn it, because otherwise you are running through Cape Town Colgat. Unacceptable and dangerous. Right, test number 4, fixing cracks in your step. This is very interesting. So in our lives, we are exposed to traumatic events at various ages. So in that test, I use my BG28 pendulum, which looks like this. And it's just fascinating. I just facilitate the process. So I will go through the ages of the patient, say 1 to 2, 2 to 3. And then normally this pendulum is just in a search position. And as soon as it picks up trauma in a certain age group, it will start to turn around. And I can do nothing to it. It will just turn and turn and turn and turn and turn. And once that trauma has been deleted, it will go back into a search position. Test number 5, balancing and activating the visual cortex for emitting BG3 energy. And this is fascinating. Again, I use the brain stands. And what I will do there is I will activate the eyes. So when you look at something, you emit BG3 energy, which is a God energy, or a healing energy, or a golden energy, to anything you look at. So I often thought about this. And if you think of Jesus, he must probably, sometimes in the Bible they say he touched people and they got healed, but I'm also sure that sometimes he just looked at people and they got healed. So by emitting BG3 energy, you send out a harmonious energy frequency to everything that you look at. That's also the kind of energy that will draw people towards you. Activating the pineal gland, that's my test number 6. You can also activate other endocrine organs like the ovaries or the testes or the thyroid. So in that exercise, again, I use the BG16 pendulum. I will use the witnesses. I will use the brain stands. And again, I will go back and then check, has the pineal gland be activated and has it a high frequency. Number 7 is the practitioner strip. I quite like this exercise. So I will use this strip. And you check again on various levels for emotions and mental and vitality and physical and spiritual, and you make sure that they're all balanced on the 10 chakras. Test number 8, biosignatures. With biosignatures, again, you need the witness. And I use the ICA pendulum, and I've got a thick file full of biosignatures. Now I'm just going to hop to another screen, and on this screen, if you look very close, you can see these are the signatures for the heart. So I will connect with your frequency, and I will take my ICA pendulum, which now is on your frequency, and I will see which of these biosignatures do you need. So normally after a session, I will have quite a few of those biosignatures for a patient, and I give them those little signatures, and they cut them out, and they put it on this piece of paper that has a very high BG3 quality because of these L shapes over there. And then I ask the patient to look at the biosignatures every day, impregnate them into a specific organ, or impregnate them into every single cell possible. I also ask the patient to take a pen and draw that signature in one movement. Not start and stop, but start and draw it in one motion. With acute conditions, it will work fairly quickly. With chronic conditions, it might take some time. And I can promise you, it really works. I've tried this on myself. I've tried it on quite a few of my patients, and it works. And it's not like a prescription drug that you take your pills, you finish it, next month you go back to the pharmacy, you get a repeat prescription, you pop it again, and you freaking get nowhere, because every month you give the pharmaceutical industry some money, and they make more money out of you, and you're a guaranteed customer for life. Rather solve the problem on an energetic level and get cured. Test 8 is normally the supplementation test. People will bring their supplements to me. I need not to see the containers. I just put the supplements in a little container, and I check, will the supplement be beneficial to the patient or not? And then what is the best dosage? Not what the label says. Most labels are based on a patient who weighs 75 kilos. Now, the thing is, if you weigh more, you must take more. But then you get older, and the older you get, the lower the dosage then also should be. But with this test, I can check for dosages, and I can also check if the supplement is beneficial to the patient or not. Then last is my BG20 pendulum body check. So I ask the patient to lie flat on his back and also flat on his stomach, and I run through over the body with the BG28 pendulum. And this is like a final check, to see if there are any blockages or pain. And again, I just facilitate the process. I do nothing. It will just go into research position if there's nothing specific. And as soon as it pick up a blockage or a low frequency or a pain or whatever, it will start to turn around and around and go faster, faster, faster. And as soon as it stops, I don't stop it myself, then I know the problem has been resolved. Any questions or people that want to share experiences? There's a question.
Yes, Samsung. Hi, share your name.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, loud and clear.
Okay, that's really fascinating, this biogeometry. Just like out of curiosity, because I think I came across this years ago, and it's so interesting that it comes again. Just regarding those devices, like how did you, like where are they coming from? Who make them? Like how those devices actually kind of like
Get into the country.
Work?
Okay,
you know?
So it's imported from Egypt. So if you Google Dr. Ibrahim Karim from Cairo, he's at the Cairo University.
That's the guy that I've listened to. Yeah. Okay.
So
okay.
he's the
one that
designer.
you studied with?
Yes.
Okay. Really fascinating. I mean, I've seen his work. It's really kind of like he's done amazing work all over the world.
Absolutely. He is absolutely amazing.
Okay.
Thank
and
you.
regarding the treatment, when you use those devices, because it's basically you call it pendulum, but those are energetic devices that energy runs through and points towards areas that energetically kind of blocked or not flowing. Does the treatment itself unblock it for a long period of time? Is it temporary, or is it what exactly kind of like this whole energetic release that it does? Is it just whenever a person kind of build up something, comes to you, you treat it, and if the habits that cause this blockage, those blockages come back, or what exactly the treatment kind of
Yes,
like how does it work?
I think that's a very good question. Thank you for asking that question. So if I can just speak for myself as an example. So what I do is every month I check myself on all the various aspects. And sometimes there are little changes, and then I will take another biogeometric signature, or I will do another treatment to balance my energy levels. My personal opinion, as you raise your own frequency, back to the hard math coherence, as you become more resilient, you will have less of a fallout as you go along. So as you get stronger within, the less the things that affect you to get out of balance will affect you. But of course, in the beginning, it's always good to have a recheck every month or a fine tuning every month. But the whole purpose of this exercise is for you to get more resilient on all the different levels, on all 7 planes, so that you, by the end of the day, become your healer, your best healer yourself, and become more resilient to your challenges so that they don't have that negative effect on you as they had in the past. Does that answer your question?
Okay, and another definitely a liver chronicle I said, can you hear me now?
Yeah, better, thank you.
Okay. Let's say I have a liver dysfunction of some sort. Let's say my enzymes are not working. It's not genetic, but it's chronic. And then I come to you and you treat the area and maybe relieve the blockage or whatever needs a flow of energy. Do you also recommend, with all your experience, obviously in natural medicine and conventional medicine, do you give any recommendation other than the heart-brain coherence, like nutritional, or do you pick up what is the source of the problem and you have answers about what exactly a person needs to do?
Yes, I think first of all, it's important for me to say that I meet my patients where they are. So if they are still very conventional, then I'm sensitive and respectful to their choices, and we'll have a more conservative medicine, natural medicine, naturopathy, homeopathy, supplementation approach. We can also do blood tests. If the patient has advanced to a level where they feel they don't want to do any medicine, they just want to do energy balancing disciplines, then we can do that. But I believe in integrating different disciplines for the best solution for the health problem. And obviously, I also operate from an intuitive level. And that's why the heart-brain coherence is very important, because as you raise your frequency, you are more resilient to operate from an intuitive level. So depending how I feel and how I feel your energy and how it plays out, I'm guided by other dimensions to assist you to get you into an optimal health zone.
Okay, great. And last one question, you said something about meditation and I wasn't sure if it's contradicting, like if you meditate, does it contradict the heart coherence practice?
No. So the thing is, what I said is that when you do heart-brain coherence, you can have a higher coherence level. But when you meditate, it's not a guarantee. So it's not that it's contradicting. I think both are good. The one is very science-based and you can measure it, and that's what I like. But I mean, I go to the philosophy school online nowadays, but in Talana wrote in the olden days, and we meditate. And we have a mantra.
So you can do both, basically.
Pardon?
You can do both. That's what I'm asking.
I recommend that you absolutely do both.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thanks, Sharon.
Right.
That's lovely. Are you going to continue with sharing, or are we going to continue with questions?
If there are questions, we can answer them. Otherwise, we go to the next slide.
May I ask a question? If somebody comes to you, do you go through all those tests, or do you intuitively decide which tests to use on the person? Or does it depend?
That's a good question. You know, I've got my 10-plan health check. So on the first session, I definitely go through all 10. And then when you come back for the second time, so those 10 steps can take up to 3 hours. Because I mean, I just did a quick rundown, but if you literally in a consultation and you do it properly, it takes 3 hours. So I normally will do 2 hours and then have a break and do another hour, or have 2 hours and another day, another hour. But to do it properly is 3 hours. And in the next session, then I know where I should focus on, and then that's much quicker. And then what I did at my last session, I have a very old patient, and I did not really know how alternative this woman is going to be. I know she believes a lot in me, but you know, sometimes she mustn't push the boundaries too heavily. So I gave her some herbal drops, and I said, would you like to try something new that's non-medicinal? She said, okay, we can give it a try. So I combined herbal drops to assist in balancing the hormones, plus I combined with a biogeometric signature in assisting balancing that. So when I see her the next time and she responded well. Then I said, but how do you feel about, we stop the medicine and you just continue with the biogeometric signature? So you have to feel the patients, because you don't want to lose or harm the trust that they have in you. And, some people are very conservative and they might think this is like voodoo or it's not very religious or nonsense like that, So you have to be very sensitive and respectful towards the patient. But luckily, the southern suburb people are very, don't want to discriminate, but then the majority of them are very open-minded. And if they know me, they say, oh, well, we've trusted you for 20 years. We can trust you for something new too.
Excellent.
Thank you, Suzanne.
Excellent. James, just one more question. I see Ilana has a question. Do you want to ask your question, Ilana?
Okay, am I on?
Yes, you are.
Okay, hi, thanks. It's very interesting. I'm in the holistic health and wellness field, so I find this very interesting too. I just wanted to ask you, can you do this work as a distance session, or does the person have to be with you in front of you?
Very good question. As long as I have a witness, now remember what I said about the witness, you take a white piece of paper, about 30 centimeters by 30 centimeters, more or less, wipe it over your forehead and your nose. I normally need 2. So what some of my patients do, they courier it to me, and then once I have these, then I can have a test. But what I like to do is, I like to do that in a Zoom session so that people see that I work. Because, if they have to pay for the stuff, I like the first session that they be present and experience the biogeometry session.
Yes, I understand that.
And thereafter, you can maybe say, okay, I've got crisis. Can you maybe look at stuff? But I just feel they have to see the value that they get.
Yes, but you can do it like through a Zoom. You don't have to physically be there if people don't live in Cape Town.
You can do it. Thank you.
Okay. And how many times do people, I suppose it depends what they come for as to how many times they come to you.
So the first session is the long session, about 3 hours. And thereafter, once a month, and as they get well and stronger and better and whatever, then eventually they've got all their biosignatures and they start to operate intuitively and they help themselves. So it's a very empowering health discipline, because as people get more intuitive, they start to manage themselves. But in the beginning, obviously, every month, and then as they get better, they can manage themselves.
Okay, and where can we find your charges for this? Is it on your website or?
This is so new that there's actually nothing on my website regarding the biogeometry. I have to add this to my website. But, you can just go to my website and you can look at my consultation hour. So this is typically charged by the hour. So there's a standard fee per hour, and you can just look at that times 3 or times 1 per session.
And I will send your details tomorrow morning. So Ilana, if you want James's details, I don't know if you're on my WhatsApp group for Conversations in the Kitchen, but take down my phone number. I'll put it in your chat, and I will send James's website tomorrow to everybody, so they can get hold of you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Welcome.
I see Michelle has a question for you.
Cool.
Yeah, thanks so much. Thanks so much for this absolutely incredible information. It's really mind-blowing. I'm very open-minded, so that's a good thing.
Thank you, Michelle.
I just want to ask a question. You mentioned trauma, healing trauma in your sessions. Do you have to be at a certain frequency to release trauma? Is it something that could happen in the first couple of sessions? Does it depend on the level of the trauma and the depth of the trauma? Because I know I've been searching many different modalities for trauma release, and there doesn't seem to be an easy way to do it, depending on the trauma, obviously. So I'm just interested around that. If it takes a long time to get into the practice, you know, if you've got to be at a high frequency to release it, what is your understanding or best practice for that?
Okay, so that's a very interesting question. So what I will do in a session is I will run through the ages. So I'll ask the patient to say 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5. And as they speak, I will use my BG28 pendulum, this one here. And so if there's nothing at the age group, it will just go into the search position. And then as soon as it picks something up, then it will start to turn around and around and around and around until it comes to a point where it goes back into a search position. And then I will know the trauma in that age group is being resolved. But what I have seen is then people come back, because trauma is a funny thing. You can clear it for now, and then the patient comes back in 30 days, and then I pick it up again. So, and then this thing will take place. So what I can say at this point in time is that trauma is not easy to release. And then secondly, I cannot answer the question yet whether this technique will take care of trauma in past lives. Because don't underestimate trauma in past lives.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for that.
Thanks, Michelle. Okay.
Right. So how do I see healthcare in the future? I think for the near time being, we will still have some allopathic interventions. I mean, if you burst your appendix, or you break your arm, or you had an accident in your motor car, or a sports accident, or an accident in the workplace, you will still need some allopathic intervention. But I feel very strong that future healthcare will use less conventional medicine. More and more patients will use energy healing modalities to address healthcare concerns. Examples of healthcare disciplines that will survive and thrive in the future: biogeometry, Reiki, psychic healers, TRE, body stress release, chiropractors, osteopaths, massage people, and other alternative healthcare practitioners that I can't think of right now. But healthcare professionals that either use their hands or work with energy healing, or both, and no medical devices needed, have a very bright future in healthcare. Then you can talk about technology like the skew machine and other newer medical devices. But because human contact gets less and less in our electronic and high-tech world, people will opt for direct contact healthcare options and less robotic stuff. People want to see you, people want to feel you, people want to talk to you. They're sick and tired of machines and electronic stuff. I wish you exponential growth in consciousness and health, and thank you for attending this evening. Thank you so much.
Fantastic, James. Thank you.
Thank you so much,
You're
James.
welcome.
That was wonderful, wonderful. And I think I'd like to open it up and see if there's anybody else that has any more questions? I see Terry is waving. Terry, hi, do you want to ask some questions? Do you want to unmute yourself?
Don't be shy, ask anything. If I can't answer, I will tell you I don't know.
Okay, I think she's just trying to find the unmute button.
In the meantime, what is TRE, James? I missed that. Biostress release and TRE.
Trauma release.
Trauma release exercise. Do we have a TRE practitioner here tonight?
James?
Yes.
James. It's Wilfred.
Yes, Wilfred. What do you want to ask
You
me?
know, it's actually coincidence that just this week I was on my cell phone where I saw this little article about this girl that went home. I think I sent it to you. And she was murdered. Now, I don't actually, you know, I'm a little bit dyslexic or quite dyslexic, so I can't read the whole thing there. It'll take me forever. So I glanced through it, and what I found out, that obviously she must have died on the way to hospital. They gave her heart to another child that needed it. And do you know what happened was, when this child now got the heart and recovered and everything, she described to a detective exactly the picture of the person that murdered the other child. And they
Yes,
caught the
absolutely.
guy. And
Yes.
he admitted that he did. So this story now just comes back to your whole talk just now, where you said that your heart has more memory or lots of memory.
Wilfred, that is so valid. So I wrote this book a couple of years ago with my colleague, A Healthy, Happy Heart. And in this book, I specifically wrote a piece about a person who got a heart. So this patient was extremely health conscious and ate very healthily. And then something happened and she got a heart from a person who really loved junk food. And then fast forward, this very healthy eater started eating junk food. And when they went deeper into the history of the patient who she got the heart from, he loved junk food. So, yes, Wilfred, it's all true.
So like I say, there you just came up with the same thing that I just saw 3-4 days ago.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Fascinating.
it was very interesting. Keep well, and everyone that joined. I'm sure a lot of people are thinking a bit now.
Thank you, Wilfred. Appreciate
Okay.
it. Bye.
Keep well. Bye. Bye-bye.
Anyone else in the house that wants to ask any questions before we start signing off? I'm just going to see if anybody's going to unmute themselves or want to wave. Synchronicity, Galaxy A51. Yes. Yes, go ahead. Sorry, I can't see your name. I just see Cape Town.
It's Les.
Les, hi Les.
Les, hi. I just haven't used a capital letter for my name.
Okay.
Thank you so much for the talk. I strangely enough bought that book last year on the biogeometrical signatures and have been fascinated by it. And when I went online and looked for the various pendulums and things, it always just said they're not for sale. You know, we're out of stock and all of that. But I looked a lot into it. I just found the book, you know, synchronistically online. So it's something I've been fascinated with for a while, and I have just used them privately myself for different things. So I'm really fascinated to hear how this can be used more integratively, and I'm definitely going to be booking an appointment. But the clearing of it, when you're actually working and clearing on the different levels, whether it's chakras or trauma or whatever, how is it actually clearing? Is it just the resonant frequency that you're working with at that time that shows you it's cleared, or, you know, is there anything else you're bringing in to work with moving, clearing, shifting?
So let's say, for instance, that you work on a specific level. Let's say you check the mental 8, and you see that there's a very low swing on the BG3 pendulum.
Yeah.
So it just moves like this instead of like this, because I always calibrate this pendulum before I start my job or testing. And so you then apply, let me see, I'm going to show you. So then you will apply these onto the human archetypal ruler. So let's say, for instance, you test something here and it's got a low, and then this is your medicine, and you apply this here, and then you emit, I'll show you in a consultation where you come and see me, and then to strengthen it, you use the BG16 dial. So these are all the interventions that you can use to address an imbalance or a low frequency. And then afterwards, you go back and you test, because you must now have a blue standard or a golden standard. And you see whether your intervention has increased the vibration or the frequency to a level of normality for that specific patient.
Wow, that's awesome. That's absolutely awesome. I've just been taking these signatures and embroidering them on everything and scribbling them on everything. My kids all have them in their cars, and we've got them everywhere, but I didn't know it was quite as, you know, so I'm really excited to get an appointment and take it more seriously.
You're most welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
That's wonderful. Thanks for asking and joining, Les.
Thank you. Yeah.
Lovely. Let's see who else is in the house. Anybody else who wants to ask any questions? I'm just looking around. There was a lady, Terry. She was trying to ask a question, and I'll ask on her behalf because it's always fascinating. We all represent each other. And unfortunately, she was somehow just booted off when she tried to open up the microphone. But she was going to ask about heart disease and cholesterol. I suppose, you know, maybe the question that you wanted to ask is, you know, doing the heart-brain cohesion and practicing that technique. I mean, you say it does affect, obviously it strengthens our resilience, our resistance, and it strengthens the immune system. And then would you be able to actually, have you ever seen results of it improving sort of heart cholesterol or physical issues within the heart?
Okay, so that's a good question. So first of all, I think it's important that we have to assess more or less how does the high cholesterol, how did it occur? Was it because of stress? Is there a genetic factor? Eating habits, not exercising? You know, most people that have high cholesterol, it's got nothing to do with their diet. It's stress related, and as soon as you address the stress, so let's say, for instance, we start heart-brain coherence exercises with this patient, and the stress levels drop and the anxiety levels drop and the patient starts to sleep better. If those are the reasons why the cholesterol is elevated, the cholesterol will come down.
So it's establishing what the reasons are that cause the high cholesterol.
That's it. And most patients that get heart attacks have normal cholesterol.
That's amazing. Okay.
Can I ask, suppose it's genetics and it's not stress?
That's a good question. I haven't had exposure to a patient that came with a genetic cholesterol. If I go back to my allopathic roots and Western medicine, if it creates a lot of inflammation in the artery, so I will definitely check homocysteine, and I will definitely check inflammation in the arteries, and then decide on my intervention. Because I had a guy in my office once who had a cholesterol of 8,
Mm-hmm.
and I did an angiogram on him, and the arteries were clear.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he might have been the exception to the rule, but anything is possible. But if you come with genetic cholesterol, I will definitely look at homocysteine and inflammation in the arteries, and then we can talk about it. But I think with that, it's better to have a holistic intervention than just biogeometry. I will rather look widely and scientifically and maybe bring biogeometry into it. But then I'll go to the science, and then I'll decide on the road ahead.
Well, then maybe I'll make an appointment with you then. I was
welcome.
I was an 8.9, and I just did my blood test, and so now I've no medicine, diet, exercise, and now I'm a 5.8.
Fantastic.
So I've managed to come off just healthy, nutritious eating and exercise. So
that's what I want to hear. Well done.
Well, it sounds like it'd be a good thing to make an appointment just to get a checkup there.
You're welcome, Michael.
This is brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mike. Okay. I'm looking around the house again, and I'm going to see if anybody else has any other questions. James, this has been an absolutely fascinating evening's discussion. I think you have really, really just opened up a huge level of curiosity amongst people that haven't heard of this before, and those that do work within the alternative fields and have experienced alternative medicine modalities are so interested. It's just another level of amazing work. So I'm quite sure people are going to be quite excited about getting your information and getting hold of you. So if there's nobody else that wants to add anything on our parting shots, I just want to ask you, is there any just thoughts that you want to leave us with this evening, knowing that you have a really attentive audience here that is just keen to hear and experience more? James, can you hear me?
I can hear you very well.
Hi. So I was just saying, do you have any parting thoughts before we end the evening tonight? Just knowing.
I'm going to share with you after this meeting, I'm going to share with you the little app, and I want you to start with your regulated breathing exercises. So the app is only 5 minutes long. So if you can start with 5 minutes in the first week, and then build it up to 10 minutes in the second week, and by the third week, you're on 15 minutes of heart-brain coherence exercises every day, at least for Monday to Friday, and weekends you take off, then I know that you've listened tonight and that you take your heart and your health seriously. Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. I just want to thank you from the bottom and depths of my heart. I'm so grateful that you joined us this evening. I know, and I speak for a lot of the people that are on, I'm already seeing comments coming through of how grateful everybody is. They found it fascinating. I'm going to share your information with your permission on your website of how people can get hold of you. You'll share the app, and I'll let everybody know tomorrow. And just wish you all a really safe and healthy winter for the rest of it. I want to say goodbye to all of you just for winter, and let you know that I will be back in August, mid to end of August, and we'll resume our conversations in the kitchen. I will go overseas scouting for more fascinating stories. So I'm super excited. James, thank you, thank you, thank you. Please know that you are a guest here anytime in my kitchen. So Thank you.
Thank you
everybody.
so much. And thank you to all the participants. Have a
Thank
good
you,
night's
James.
rest. Blessings.
See you on Wednesday.
Thanks, James. Much love.
Bye.
Bye.